welcome back to the Youth and Policy Podcast. My name is Ben. I'm going to be your host today. Today I'm joined by Jeremie. How are you doing today, Jeremie?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So before we start on the topic of kind of minorities not falling into the majority party that the minorities fall in, what political ideology do you subscribe to?
I am a paleo-libertarian.
And can you go a little bit more in depth on what a paleo-libertarian is?
Yes, a paleo-libertarian is someone that believes in social conservatism. So I am very socially conservative and also believe in the capitalists. It's like a libertarian, but mixed with conservative, traditional values, cultural values.
And have you always been a paleo-libertarian?
No, I used to be just a normal conservative, right? Yeah, I went from it's called neoconservative.
Neoconservative, yeah. So I guess where I'd like to start is, do you think minorities, POCs, kind of get joined? I'm trying to word this correctly. Do you think they kind of conform to one party more than another?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
And what party do you think that would be?
The Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party. Why do you think more of the minority community are Democrats?
Because it's like the left controls like everything. I mean, they control the college system. They have a lot of influence on media, society, and a lot of things. And like, this might sound wrong, but like, there's not a lot of Black people that are constantly like looking into politics, like constantly like paying attention to the exact detail.
Yeah, and I guess because you say the Democratic Party has such a pressure on it, have you ever felt like society has pressured you into being a Democrat?
Yes, when I was younger, that definitely. When I was younger, my entire family is very liberal, and they were like, yeah, we're liberal because like they were saying that conservative or libertarian or other people are racist and all these other things, which really made me feel like, wow, man, if they're doing that, why should I be that? I should be a Democrat.
Yeah, and now being a paleo-libertarian, do you get any kind of, I guess, like a look when you say that you're not a Democrat when people ask you what your political ideology is?
They're like, what is that? Because like they're not very familiar with it, right? They're like, and when I explain it, they just associate it with conservative, which I mean, in a sense, yeah, but it's different. So like, it's hard. Sometimes I just say I'm a conservative because a lot of people won't understand what I mean when I say paleo-libertarian. So yeah. And you definitely get like a big look upon. They're like, "What are you?" And then I get called racial slurs there and there, and yeah.
Do you think people try to gatekeep kind of the POC community when it comes to what political ideology you are?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any like? You don't need to go into like specific examples, but do you have any like kind of just like broaden examples, like what a conversation would be like when you told someone that you're on the right?
Yeah. One time I actually the first time I ever posted a TikTok, right? I use TikTok. A TikTok video expressing my views. I looked at the hate. I went to sleep that night. I woke up. I looked at the comments, and I was like, wow. I was getting all sorts of comments. I was getting people calling me coon, calling me a pick me, calling me all sorts of slurs, right? And I was just shocked, and I was just like, wow. I never felt that much. Like the video went viral, but I never felt that much hate on me. I was just surprised, and like I just started being more vocal about my political views, right? And people are definitely like against it. There's a lot of people that are against it, and like it's crazy. Things like that wouldn't make a minority want to be a different like political ideology other than being a Democrat.
Yeah, and I guess I would say, why do you think I guess this is going to be a pretty loaded question, but do you think the Democrats or politicians in general, because you are a libertarian, have the minority community's best interests in mind?
Well, obviously, I'll be biased in that and saying no. I would say no because I'm biased and my views are different. But I do not think that. I think that the impact of liberalism have really impacted people and impacted the black community in a different way.
Okay, can you elaborate more on why you think specifically Democrats maybe
I guess
kind of use the POC community for votes?
has in welfare system, they have pushed that. The welfare state has really hurt the black community and things like that also, which is one thing they talk you can they talk about what this might I'm about to sound like a massive incarceration, which is also Reagan fault, which right? Reagan fault because of the drug war. But there's a lot of things that associated with the left that have hurt the black community worse too. And also like just recently increasing the minimum wage, that's going to hurt people of color because those are the people they're the unemployment is going to go high and it's going to ultimately affect them.
So you listed a bunch of problems. What do you think is the biggest problem for the black community right now? Like, what is the main problem that we need to fix right now?
The main problem, whew, no, I wouldn't say the main problem. I mean, I guess the single parent rate plays in the effect of that. Another thing, I would say definitely the I would definitely the welfare state, definitely.
The welfare state. And did you have any way to fix that maybe the Democrats, even maybe the Republicans, aren't trying to go for? How do we fix this welfare state in your
Well,
perfect
what
world?
people would say, obviously, they'll be like ultimately get rid of it or something like that. But like, yes, but we have to take small steps towards that. I'm not the greatest fan. You heard of Andrew Yang, right? I'm not like the
Yes.
biggest fan of his UBI, but I can kind of see a system like that playing a role into that.
Uh-huh. So I guess in the last election or two elections ago, I think it was 80% of people that were black voted Democrat.
Mhm.
Do you see this trend continuing in the future?
Mhm.
Do you think that we might see more uh, people of color start voting more on the right?
Yes, definitely. This year, actually, you can see if you look at the election demographic, right? More black. Donald Trump got the most like votes in any Republican in 60 years for minorities, right? And like the trend has has had double his votes double from 2016. That's like evidence that shows that it's going to like keep increasing over time. And the more that's why I'm so for minorities getting into like politics, not just being right wing or just Democrats, just getting into politics, being involved, because then being involved going to make the other generation after us being more involved, right? And it's going to be you're going to see more of a diverse political spectrum in the minorities.
So would you kind of contribute the lack of diversity in political opinions, kind of the lack of involvement in politics?
Yes.
Mhm. So like you said, Trump did get a record high number of minority votes for this election. But why do you think that is? Do you think it's maybe people are getting more into politics? Do you think maybe they're just fed up with the Democrats? Like why do you think he started to get this record amount of votes?
I think it's both because people are fed up. Obviously, people want result. When people want result, they seek for things. They get more involved with things, right? Even it was just interesting. Like even also another thing, right? Gen Z, most Gen Z people, right, or kids, whatever, turned 18 today, right? And Gen Z, their generation is very involved in politics on the right or left. They're just very involved in politics, right? That definitely helps too overall. And I think it's great. I think it's great that the younger generation is being involved in politics and want like care for this nation.
So we talked about kind of the Democrats not having the minorities' best interest in mind. Do you think that they do use them for political gain, and at the end of the day they really don't care, or do you think they have done some things for the minority community that that is very good.
I think it's both. It's a mixture of both. Depends who you're talking about specifically. But I think that people have different ways of seeing things, right? People like like if you look about it, liberals and conservative, they're not that far apart in social aspect, right? They see the problem. They have different aspect of like solving the problem, right? That's the thing, right? And I think that even the conservative do it, even conservative do it. They use because minority are such a big portion, right? Overall, if you're looking at the election, right? So they want those votes. So they're gonna do things that's gonna sound appealing to them, right? Or even if they don't do it, they're gonna say things that are gonna sound good to them, right? And so they can get their votes. I think both political like parties do it overall. But yeah, so it's a mixture of both on your question.
Okay, yeah. But I guess coming from your aspect of a paleo libertarian, do you think the best way to help the minority community is to kind of get the government out of our daily lives, or like what specifically do you think the paleo libertarian party can do for the minority community?
Well, they definitely need to be more involved, be more than like Jojo Jordan. Like I think government intervention is pretty bad overall because it just never works. Obviously, I don't think we're gonna go to that capitalist state because it's just not. Government intervention is always gonna be there, sadly. Right? I think that's the truth I realized over these past weeks studying. I've been reading what leftist says theory, yeah, and things like that. So it's a very complex answer to completely answer just one sentence.
Yeah. So I guess what I'd ask you is for the people that are trying to get into politics that are minorities, um, what tips and tricks do you have for them? Trying left and right, like how can they get involved?
I think that you need to start listening to the other side. If you're left, you need to start listening to right. If you're right, start listening to them. Start listening and like study the people environment. Because also your environment and look at your environment. Also your environment plays a role in what you're probably gonna be, right? Because like people like black people for example, right? A lot of black people are below the economic ladder, right? And a lot of them are struggling. So they'll look for things like food stamps. They'll look for things like those government programs. And who are the people that are pushing for those government programs? Democrats, right? So there goes a correlation right there already, right? So I think you just need to, for the younger generation, start like looking at both sides, start reading both sides. Because even our news, just look at our news. Our news is so biased. Like Fox News and Tucker, whatever his name is like so right leaning. You can just tell it's right leaning. And you look at CNN, and CNN is so right leaning. I mean left leaning. Like they hate Trump. You can just tell they hate that man. They're like orange man's bad, orange man's bad. So like yeah, you gotta look at both sides. What I started doing, right? First I used to be like just a hardcore just a neocon, right? And then I started looking at the left. And then I started reading more. So I would say just be open minded, start reading, and look at your surroundings.
And what would you say political icons like Barack Obama, Candace Owens, what have they done to the young black community? Do you think they've gotten them more involved in politics? Do you think they've gotten them kind of questioning their beliefs, or do you think they've really sparked an interest into politics?
Let me start by Candace Owens first because I used to be a big. I'm not such a big fan of her now, but I used to be a big fan of her. She has a movement called Bleed something like that, and if they like go out and like help black communities and like they try to like bring awareness to politics and stuff. So that's good for her. And Barack Obama, as much as I disagree with his political like policies, I would say that his personality was a great person. So like when people when young kids are looking up to Barack Obama, they're like, oh man, he's a good guy, even though they don't know his policies, right? So yeah, I would say both of them, people like that, like involve other generations.
Hmm. So I don't got much more. If you want to elaborate on some other points, we can put that into other parts. But other than that, I'm just gonna have you plug your TikTok, and I think it was a really good discussion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. Very good discussion. Y'all should follow me on TikTok. Let me pull it up right quick. Okay. So y'all should follow me on TikTok. That's my TikTok right there.
There we go.
Jeremie Kuleka 14.
There we go.
And
How many followers you have?
I have 93K.
93K. 93K. That's fantastic. Congratulations. But great conversation, Jeremie. Happy to see what you do in the future. A track star. When does track start up?
Next week.
Next week. Good luck, my man. Good luck, my man. But thank you for joining us today. It really was a pleasure. Join us next week, and we don't actually know what the guest is next week, but stay tuned. So,
thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to continue to support us, you can do so by checking out our Instagram pages at Youth in Policy and at Watch Verbum. You can also look at our website at www.yipinstitute.com. Make sure to follow our page as we upload weekly. Have a great day.